What is going on, everybody? So I am back today to talk about, surprisingly, another Marvel movie. And as I said in my Spider-Man review, I've kind of been burnt out on Marvel movies as of late. I just feel like they always hit the exact same formula for me, and it's always seemingly just building up to the next thing. Every single time I watch one of these newer Marvel films, it's just like we're establishing a villain or establishing some arc that's going to play into the larger scheme of whatever Marvel has planned up. And to me, that's relatively boring. If I watch a film, I want to watch the movie for what it is. And unless you're looking at like Avengers Infinity War, that's like part one of a two-part series, I can understand that. But when it's like all of these independent characters and you're supposed to have these arcs that are really important to building their characters up, I want those fleshed out. So it had been a while since I'd been excited about a Marvel movie, and I saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It was amazing. It's its own thing. My favorite series in all of Marvel has been Guardians of the Galaxy, and I feel like the reason being is James Gunn kind of takes these movies and does whatever the hell he wants with them. There's been little tie-ins throughout the series that have kind of connected the worlds together, but they've all felt like their own independent experiences that have been really fun. They have great soundtracks, they have great performances, they're always a good time. And so today I'm going to discuss Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is directed by James Gunn. Peter Quill, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, must rally his team around him to defend the universe along with protecting one of their own. A mission that, if not completed successfully, could quite possibly lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them. When this movie got announced, I know James Gunn is now working as a creative director for DC. He's kind of transitioning from Marvel to DC. He might work with Marvel in the future, who knows, but as of right now, his loyalties are going to lie with the DC company. And so I feel like this was his last hurrah with Marvel, kind of doing what he wanted. And this movie is incredible. Everything that people have said about it, if you've read about this movie, people saying it's phenomenal, it really is incredible. And that is because it is a standalone film that does an amazing job giving the characters and Guardians of the Galaxy really great arcs, really entertaining circumstances that they're being put into. We learn a little bit more about Rocket Raccoon in particular, because in the past two films, we've gotten a lot with Peter Quill, we've gotten a lot with Gamora, we've gotten a lot with Groot. The other characters have been really well fleshed out over time. Drax, but Rocket Raccoon is finally getting center stage in this movie, and it was absolutely fantastic. It broke my heart in multiple ways. I did not know that Rocket Raccoon had such a tragic backstory that is written so incredibly well. I think the pacing for this thing being 2.5 hours long, James Gunn is able to just sort of immerse you into these worlds in a way that you connect with these characters. You're having a fun time. If there's a really heavy dramatic moment, he does a really great job at providing some form of comedic levity to kind of get you amped up and excited and then drop you down again. And it's just a roller coaster of emotions throughout the entire runtime of the film, which I feel like is so much different than the other Marvel movies, because in a lot of these other Marvel films you get introduction of villain, there's like a couple of little run-ins, and then the big showdown. And there is a villain in this movie, and his presence is always looming, but the difference is this is so much more about the interpersonal relationships between these characters that we've grown to know and love through two other films in the franchise and when they've crossed over into other Marvel movies. And I think, putting the crux of this movie on Rocket Raccoon's backstory, you really have to do a great job at like building that character up in the situations that he's been in. And this is some really heartbreaking stuff. I know a lot of people have talked about it online. There's a lot in this about animal cruelty and the way animals are treated in these experiments in the film. And so that, if you're highly sensitive to that stuff, is going to be very difficult for you to watch. There were moments that just absolutely destroyed and broke my heart when I was watching it, even though they're CGI animals. Just the thought of it is really heartbreaking. And this movie dives into the lead villain having this insane god complex and essentially thinking that, he can create the perfect world with no flaws, with highly intellectual beings. And the theme that really resonates in this, especially to me, is like there is no such thing as perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. All we can do is strive to make each other better and try to make the world a better place all together, rather than just one person thinking they know what's best for everyone else. And I think that's handled really well in the movie. Obviously, like I said, this idea of animal abuse and how we treat animals is another really prevalent through line throughout the entire runtime of the film. And I appreciated all of those themes coming through in a big blockbuster Marvel movie. As per James Gunn, there are some absolutely hilarious sequences in this. It really has this sort of sadistic tone in all three Guardians films that I really appreciate comparatively to a lot of the other Marvel movies. I feel like Thor Ragnarok, the first Taika Waititi installment, had a little bit more of that kind of dark, witty humor, which not a lot of the Marvel films have. They have humor, but it's more of just like generic standard writing. And I feel like James Gunn does a really great job at doing really weird, subversive, strange comedy. The action sequences are all so unique for a Marvel movie. There's this one sequence in this hallway that I really enjoyed the way that it was shot. The score wasn't playing super loudly over top of it, or the soundtrack piece that they picked, and so it was really unique. I feel like the mixing in that scene was really interesting. But yeah, for a Marvel movie, I was engaged throughout the entire runtime of this film. I feel like all of the characters get a good arc in this movie, and if this is the last time that James Gunn does this, and I know a lot of the characters, I think Dave Bautista in general has said this was it for Drax's run. I think that if you're looking for a good closure point for these characters, even if they come back in the future, they did a really good job of tying things up with a bow that I think if you're a fan of the Guardians series, you're going to be satisfied with the ending of this one. So have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was really entertaining. I appreciated the performances. I thought everyone did a really great job, and I had a lot of fun watching this thing. As always, if you like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.